Hi all, day 3 of the Chessable Masters, and we have many more exciting matches to show. Starting off with this one, where Magnus Carlsen takes on Hikaru Nakamura. First of all, I have some stripes here, so don't worry, I'm perfectly healthy, but it's the virtual reality headset. I've been playing a lot of Beat Saber recently, and yeah, this is the result. So, yeah, it's round 6 of Group A. Recently in the Lindores Abbey Rapid Challenge, Nakamura actually defeated Carlsen in the semifinals, and in this tournament, in the first round, they drew their match. So Magnus, he really would like to win this one, of course. After 5 rounds, the standings are as follows: we have Artemiev leading with 3.5 out of 5, Dubov with 3 out of 5, Carlsen and Nakamura both 2.5 out of 5, Grishik with 2 out of 5, and Hari Krishna with 1.5 out of 5. It's a rapid game. Time control is 15 minutes with a 10-second per move increment. So let's get started. Magnus opens with d4. We have knight to f6, so the Indian game. c4, e6, knight to f3, and d5, transposing in the queen's gambit declined. We have knight to c3, bishop to e7, bishop to f4, and castles. We have a3, knight b to d7, and now Magnus played knight to b5, eyeing the juicy c7 pawn. So Nakamura has to defend it, and he defends it with knight to e8. And now we have e3. Carlsen has this favorite setup of his, like the London system, yeah. So we have takes on c4. Most common move here is actually a6, but we have takes, and now c5 actually. So we have takes on c5, and now kicking the knight back with a6. We have knight b to d4, a nice central outpost for the knight, and we have bishop takes c5. So material is equal, but the white pieces are lovely developed, and the black pieces are all on the back row. We have castles and queen to e7, rook to c1, taking this open c file, and now you might wonder, hold a minute, rook to c1, black can just win a piece, right, with e5. But actually this is not the case, because there's bishop to g5, and you cannot defend with the f pawn since it is pinned. So you'll have to play something like knight to f6, and the game would continue, maybe like this, and then h6, bishop h4. So you don't actually win a piece for black. And now you have this pawn in the center. It's always a question: is it going to be a target if maybe the bishop moves here, and we have the knight eyeing it. And while it's on e6, it is nicely protected by the f7 pawn. So you don't win a piece, and the pawn structure in this case looks a bit better. So instead of e5, Nakamura plays bishop to d6, uh, wanting to trade off this strong bishop. We have bishop to a2, now freeing up the c file for the rook, and we have knight d to f6, trying to get the pieces out and trying to get his pieces developed. Maybe trying to get this knight to d5, maybe guess this knight to d5. We have knight to e5 by Magnus, and now knight back to d7. So it is a bit strange that he moves, first he moves his knight to f6, and now he moves his knight back to d7. But he wants to challenge this strong knight for Magnus. But unfortunately, this gives Magnus a really nice trick. Um, let's take a couple of seconds and maybe you can spot it. White to move. What's the best continuation? So Magnus played knight d to c6. Yes, it looks outrageous. Yeah, you're just giving up a piece. But actually, you're not. Because if you takes and takes, if the queen moves, yeah, you can actually take on d6, and you win the piece back, and you have a much better position. So uh, Magnus played the knight to c6, and Nakamura played queen to h4, saying, "Okay, I'm just gonna move my queen, and it's all good." Magnus challenges the queen again with bishop g3, um, queen to g5, and now h4. Now queen to f6, and knight to g4. Now attacking the queen, but also now a double attack on the bishop. So queen takes b2, and now Carlsen just takes the piece. We have takes on c6. So before capturing the rook, Magnus played rook to c2 with tempo, kicking the queen back and preventing the queen from taking on a2. Queen goes back to c5, and now we can take the rook. Knight takes, and now h5. So Magnus is the exchange up. We have h6 preventing this pawn from advancing any further. Now we have queen to f3, eyeing not only the c6 square but also the f7 square if this pawn ever moves. We have queen takes h5, and we have queen takes c6 with a double attack on the knight and the rook. So you cannot take the knight here because your rook is hanging. So Nakamura played knight to c7, defending the rook, and if you take the knight, then this knight falls. So Magnus decides to go back to f3, defends the knight, now attacking this knight. But also here, with this, there is a threat of knight to f6, winning the queen. So for example, if black plays, I don't know, maybe knight to b5, you can get a check here, and if it takes, you win the queen. So we have to defend, and the only way to defend f6 and defend your knight is actually knight to d5. So this is what Nakamura played. Now e4, trying to kick the knight back. And if the knight moves, then again, this is a vulnerability. We have e5 now by Nakamura, saying, okay, you can take the knight and I will take yours. But Magnus had other plans, and he played knight to h6 with check, and was in this position that Nakamura resigned the game. So why did he resign? So let's just see what happens if you take the knight. Yeah. So let's say queen takes. Now you have bishop takes on d5, and now we see that we have a problem here, and we have a problem here, and you have to defend one of them. So let's say you defend this threat, then you take the rook, and basically now you're a rook and the exchange down, so a completely winning position for white. So let's say you're not taking, but for example you play king to h7, then simply your queen hangs. So this was the final position. I think it was a fantastic game, really exciting. I hope you enjoyed it too. If you did, please leave a comment, subscribe, like it. It's all very much appreciated. And I'll see you in the next Chessable Masters game. Bye for now.